Salvete omnes. This is Abbey Latin Liber Primus, chapter 15. This is exercise E of chapter 15, parsing English to Latin. Sententia prima. 1,000 Roman soldiers seized the camp of the German troops. To find your subject, ask yourself, who is doing the verb? The verb is seized. Who is doing the action of the verb? And that is the soldiers. The soldiers who are both 1,000 and also Roman. Adjectives modifying the noun soldiers. So we'll start with 1,000. 1,000 is the Latin mille, and it is indeclinable, not able to be declined. It is the same form mille throughout. A single thousand. Adjective Roman from Romanus aon, and both mille and Romanus aon will modify the noun soldier, which is our subject. If it is the subject, it will be nominative and plural because it's got an S, soldiers, more than one. The Latin for soldier is miles militis, masculine. That makes 1,000 nominative plural masculine. It doesn't really matter because it's indeclinable. And then Roman, Romanus aon, is nominative plural masculine as well. So something like mille milites Romani. I don't know. Seized, that's going to be third person plural. Perfect tense, seized. They did it. They seized. Who did? The soldiers did. Active and indicative of occupo, occupare, occupavi, occupatus. So perfect stem, occupab, because we want the perfect tense, and then add the third plural ending. We have e, isti, it, imus, istis, erunt is the third plural, occupaverunt. They seized, subject does the verb to the direct object, camp. Direct object is in the accusative case, that is casra, orum, always neuter, always plural. The casra belonging to the German troops, the troops who are German. So troops, this is all going to be genitive of possession because they own or possess the camp. German is Germanus aum, and it will modify troops. So it will have the same gender numbering case as copiae aurum, feminine, plural. Both will be genitive, both will be feminine, both will be plural. Altogether, we have the mille milites Romani, then the casra copiarum Germanarum, and the verb occupaverunt. The 1,000 Roman soldiers seized the camp of the German forces, of the German troops. Optime, sententia secunda. If they defeat the enemy in Europe, our soldiers will then remain in our country. Here we have a conditional. If something happens, then something else will happen. So the if part, introduced by C, S-I-C, is the protasis. If this happens, then the apodosis, the payoff, will happen. So if they defeat the enemy in Europe, our soldiers will then. So this will happen. The soldiers will remain in our country if this will have already happened. So the enemy had to be defeated first. This action of the enemy being defeated has to happen first, completed, before the soldiers remain in our country. This verb defeat needs to be in the future perfect, and this verb will remain needs to be in the future. So we'll start with the protasis, the if part. So if is C, conjunction C, S-I. If they defeat, who's they? Yeah, third person plural. If they defeat, if they will have defeated, third person plural, future perfect, active indicative of supero, superare, superavi, superatus. If you defeat the enemy, hostis, hostis masculine, third declension masculine, I stem noun. The genitive plural is hostium. But we want the accusative plural, and it is plural because it's not an enemy, but it's the enemy. So hostes, hostes. In Europe, the enemy is in Europe. In plus the accusative would show motion towards, into, or onto, but in plus the ablative shows location, and we want location because that's where the enemy is located, in Europe. In plus the ablative of Europa, I, feminine. That will be Europa, macron over the final A. C, hostes in Europa superaverent. Our soldiers will then remain in our country. So our soldiers, going to be the subject of the verb will then remain. So noster, nostra, nostrum, adjective our, belonging to us, modifying the noun soldiers. Soldiers being miles, milites, masculine. We want the nominative plural masculine for both. Milites nostri. They will then remain. Then is going to be an adverb. Tum, tum, tum at that time, will then. Will thereupon, will remain. Will remain, they, third person plural, future, active, indicative of maneo, manere, see the ma, mansi, mansus, not moneo, mo, maneo. So mane bunt, third person plural future. And they're going to remain in our country, in plus the ablative showing location. Our, it belongs to us, noster, nostra, nostrum, needs to modify country, patria, I, feminine. Both are ablative, both are singular, both are feminine. In patria nostra. Macrons on the final A's, on patria and nostra. Optime, all together. Si hostes in Europa superaverent, milites nostri tum in patria nostra manebunt. Optime, tertia, sententia tertia. 9 slaves were walking towards the farmer's house. So the verb is were walking. Who's walking? The slaves. They are the subject, nominative case. More than one, there's plural. Servus e masculine, we want the nominative subject. And then 9, 9 rings made for men. Now the 9, noem, the 9. Noem, an indeclinable adjective numeral, doesn't change form. It's going to take the same form no matter what, but it has to hang around the noun it modifies. So noem servi, servi, they were walking. They were walking. Third person plural, they. Imperfect active indicative of ambulo, ambulare, ambulavi, ambulatus. They were doing this. They were in the process of doing this in the past. They used to do this. Towards is odd plus the accusative motion towards. And we're not going towards the farmer. We're going towards the house of the farmer, the farmer's house. So house, wila I feminine, will be the accusative to go with the preposition odd. Farmers, apostrophe s, will be the genitive singular. Genitive of possession. Agricola I masculine. Ad agricolae vilam, or we could say ad vilam agricolae. And 9 slaves. Servi noem, or noem servi. Ad agricolae vilam ambulabant. Optime. Quarta, sententia quarta. You and I will see many Spanish soldiers in our country, for some reason. So you and I, here we have our subjects, because the verb will see. Who will see? You and I will see. We will see. You and I, that is we will see. Be careful about that. So the verb is going to show first person plural, because it's I and someone else. Now, English, we have this etiquette where The third person pronoun he, she, it, or a third person precedes a second person, you, which goes before a first person, which is I. And Latin doesn't do that because the first person goes first because it's first, and the second person goes second because it's like second, and the third person goes third because it's, wait for it, it's third. That's right. So this second person you and this first person I, Latin likes the first person first, so I, et, and the second person you, tu. Ego et tu. We want the nominatives here because they're the subjects, they're nominative. So tu, ego, Latin wants ego et tu. We will see, video, videre, vidi, visus. First person plural, future active indicative. So bimus, videbimus. What will we see? Many Spanish soldiers. We're going to see the soldiers, who happen to be many and manifold and Spanish as well. So multos aum, hispanos aum, to agree with miles milites masculine. We want the accusative direct object. So milites, miles milites, militi, militem, milite, third declension masculine. Milites, militum, militibus, milites. There it is, militibus. So milites. That makes many, multos aum, also accusative plural masculine. In Spanish, hispanos aum, also accusative plural masculine. Multos hispanos milites. Multos milites hispanos. Where are they? In our country. In plus the ablative will show location. Noster, nostra, nostrum. That will agree with country. Patria, I, feminine. So macrons over those final A's because it's ablative singular location. In patria nostra. Altogether, ego et tu multos milites hispanos in patria nostra videbimus. Optime. Quinta, sententia quinta. You gave me bread, and I gave you water. Cool. So you gave me bread. Verb is gave. Who gave? You gave. You, second person singular. You gave. You did it. Second person singular. Perfect tense. We don't say gived. Of do, dare, dedi, datus. So the perfect stem is dead, D-E-D, from dedi, chop off the I, and we add isti, isti it, imus istis erot, dedisti. You gave me, right? No, you didn't give, me is not the direct object. You gave the direct object bread to me. You gave to me the bread. You gave the bread to me. You gave me the bread. Remember, English can do that. English can flippity-dippity, the indirect object and the direct object. So me, you can put a 2 or a 4 in front of this. TO/FOR. To or for me. So this is the dative. The dative of ego. Ego mehi. Mihi. Me. We want the mihi. Bread. Bread is panem. From panis, masculine. We want the accusative direct object panem. So dedisti mihi panem. Et. I. Now I am the subject. Ego. Nominative subject. And I gave. Dedi. First person singular. Dedi. Of do dare. Dedi datus. And I gave you. Are you the direct object? No, you are the indirect object. Water is the direct object of giving. I gave the water to you. So to you, this is going to be the dative of to. Tui, tibi, te, tibi. Whereas me, dative of ego is mihi. The dative of to is tibi. Water is aqua I feminine. We want the accusative singular feminine direct object aquam, because it's the direct object of the verb gave. So dedisti panem mihi, et ego tibi aquam dedi. Something like that. You can have a lot of fun with this one. Sexta, sententia sexta. 2 teachers were walking with my father and my mother. We have 2 teachers. Remember that numerals unos, duo, and tres actually decline. Quatuor, 4 to 100, centum, do not decline, and that includes mille. Also, 1,000 does not decline. 2 does decline. So it's duo, duai, duo. We want teachers. Now you can determine the sex of your teachers here, the gender. Magister, magistri masculine would be a male teacher, whereas magistrai feminine would be a female teacher. It does not matter. You can pick either one. Just make sure that the gender of 2 reflects the noun. So if you decide we have 2 male teachers here, so this would be magister, magistri, the subject. That would be second declension masculine, so magistri. Make sure that 2 is nominative plural, because 2 is always plural, masculine, duo. Duo magistri. Now, if it's 2 female teachers, that would be duai magistrai. And if it's a male teacher and a female teacher walking together, unfortunately, in Latin, because it's a sexist language, the masculine wins out. It would be magistri. Either way, any way you want. Just make sure that the adjective modifying the noun agrees with the noun in gender numbering case. But they are the subject in the nominative case. They were walking. Ambulo, ambulare, ambulave, ambulatus. Third person plural. Imperfect active indicative. Ambulabant. With my father and my mother. In the company of my father and mother. So cum plus meosa to agree with pater patris masculine, et meosa to agree with the ablative of mater matris feminine. Cum meo patre et mea matre. Macron over the a in mea. Duo magistri cum meo patre et mea matre ambulabant. Or you can say duai magistrai cum meo patre et mea matre ambulabant. Once again, you got options. Septima, sententia septima. Everyone, look at me. Everyone, look at me. So everyone, you're calling everyone. Say, hey, you, everyone. This is going to be vocative. Vocative plural of omnis, omne, and you're using everyone as a substantive here because omnis is always an adjective. Hey, all yous guyses, all yous peoples. So it's just omnes. Remember, all vocative plurals are the same as nominative plurals, omnes. We don't say the neuter omnia because these are animate, live, sexed people. So omnes. Look at me. Look at. Is specto, spectare, spectavi, spectatus, to look at, takes accusative direct object. Me, weird. I wonder what the accusative of ego could be. Let's run through it. Ego, which means I, the genitive mei, it's the objective genitive of me. The dative to or for me is mihi. The accusative direct object of ego is me, which means me in English. It's the same word. Weird. And we want the imperative of specto, spectare to be plural because we're talking to everyone. Oh, one looks singular. Yes, but we're talking to all persons. Hey, all you people. Spectate me. Me spectate. Spectate omnes me. Spectate me omnes. Octava, sententia octava. 1,000 soldiers broke camp and moved the heavy baggage across the river. Okay, we have verb They broke camp. Oh, they broke it. They better glue it back together. Remember, this is an idiom. Break camp doesn't mean that they actually, well, it kind of means that they broke camp, but it means they struck camp. They hit it? That's not very nice. They moved it. Kasra movere. Kasra movere. Remember, you have to conjugate the movere from moveo, movere, movi, motus. So we have 1,000 soldiers did this. Soldiers is the subject. 1,000 adjective numeral agreeing with the noun soldiers. It's an indeclinable mille, so it doesn't change form. How nice. To agree with miles militis, masculine soldiers. We want the nominative plural because it's the subject, so mille milites. They broke camp. You can leave kasra alone because it will always be the accusative direct object of the verb movere, that verb part of the idiom. You just have to conjugate moveo, movere, movi, motus. They broke, they did it. So third person plural, perfect active indicative. Third principal part is movi, chop off the I to get mo, and then add erunt, moverunt. The perfect endings are I isti it, imus istis erunt, moverunt. So mille milites casra moverunt, and et they moved. Hey, it's like the same verb. So moveo, movere, movi, motus again. You can just say it once. So you can say 1,000 soldiers, mille milites casra et, and then moverunt. So the verb can take both, the noun camp and also the baggage. And we'll know that we mean we moved the camp and also we moved the baggage. We didn't move the camp and break the baggage, or did we? So the heavy baggage, not just the baggage, the impedimenta orum, always neuter, always plural when it means baggage. Direct object of the verb moved. The soldiers did it. It's heavy. Gravis grave. So adjective, heavy, gravis grave, third declension adjective, to termination, modifying impedimenta orum, always neuter, always plural. The impedimenta gravia. Across is trans, which takes the accusative. We want the accusative of flumen, fluminous, neuter, river. Third declension neuter, not I stem, trans flumen. So mille milites casra et impedimenta gravia trans flumen moverunt. Optime. Nona, sententia nona. The Roman people used to give command to the 2 consuls, and by command we mean power, government, the right to command. So the Roman people, the people who are Roman, Romanos an adjective to modify the noun populus e masculine. There's only one Roman people, not the Roman peoples, so nominative singular masculine. That makes Romanus nominative singular masculine, the populus Romanus. They used to give, they were giving, and by they I mean it, singular, was giving. Third person singular, imperfect active indicative of do, dare, dedi, datus, so dabat. The direct object in the accusative, command is imperium e neuter, because it's neuter, second declension neuter, the accusative will be the same as the nominative, imperium. And we're giving the direct object in the accusative to the indirect object to the 2 consuls. How many consuls? Well, there are 2 of them. Duo, duai, duo, to modify consul, consulis masculine. We want the dative plural for both. Consulibus, consulibus duobus. Duobus consulibus. Altogether, populus Romanus imperium duobus consulibus dabat. Optime and decima, sententia decima. The city of Rome has 7 hills. The city of Rome has 7 hills. Rome being in a positive of city. You can do this a couple different ways. You could go ahead and do the dative of possession, where there are 7 hills to the city Rome. There are 7 hills to the city of Rome. So that would make the 7 hills the subject. Septem is indeclinable. Hills, mons, montes, masculine. So septem montes. There are, third person plural present, sunt septem montes, and the dative to the city Rome. The dative of urbs, orbis feminine is urbi. And then when we talk about, this is just in a positive, the city of something, that's just in a positive in Latin. So we want the appositive of Rome. Roma, I, feminine. So urbi Romae. Urbi Romae sunt septem montes. Sunt septem montes urbi Romae. That's one way to do this. Or, because you know a verb that means to have, to own, to possess, you can use habeo, habere, habui, habitus, and just make the city of Rome the subject. This is habeo, and this is the direct object, 7 hills. The urbs Roma, nominative, urbs Roma, septem montes habet. Habet, because Rome still has 7 hills. Actually has more than 7 these days. But back in the day, of course, famously, Rome, 7 hills. Septem montes. So a couple different ways to do number 10. You can use the dative of possession. Sunt urbi Romae septem montes. There are 7 hills to the city of Rome. Or you can use the verb habeo and make the city of Rome subject, urbs Roma, and then 7 hills, the direct object, septem montes, and then habet. Couple different options. Optime, very well done. That wraps it up for exercise E. You are now ready to move on to the Lectio Latina for the chapter. Valete omnes.